Good evening, wrestling enjoyers. Hope you're right, 'cause it's time for Profit Review. Last week we discussed the May 15, 2025 Rust Store, and that means today we're here to talk about May 22. So sit back, relax, I'm going to start yapping. So, my initial reaction. Oh look, another super pay-to-win transparent aim sight weapon has appeared. The Heatseeker Summer. It's continuing. It's getting interesting. So, consecutively, 3 weeks in a row, we have got some pretty cool looking skins being accepted. Our weapon collection is brewing, and a lot of people are fully well aware that had a pay-to-win transparent aim sight. Remember, with the previous week with the SAR, it took a good few days, and then people realised. Now, I when I saw that in the workshop, I immediately put out a short video. I started posting on TikTok again. The viewership was there. People were aware, right? So, how's that gonna develop? Considering everybody is fully well aware of it. We'll talk about that in a bit. Don't you worry. And oh wow, Dart Wheel, a spinning wheel skin has actually been accepted into Rust. So that's like always been available, but only now, May 22, 2025, do we actually see an actual skin being accepted. Okay, and it's a Dart Wheel. That's pretty cool. You can throw spears at it and whatnot. And I should also point out, oh look, loads of clothing and armor. Well, mostly armor. People weren't happy. You might sit there and say, oh, I'd absolutely adore to get loads of armor in the Rust Store right about now. Well, back then, you know, it's May, in a month where we had the Jungle update come out, and people were hoping, they were praying, they thought there was a very good chance we'd actually see some green clothing armor being accepted. And what does Face Punch do? Here's Deep Ruby Tier 2. Here's Tiger Tier 3. Yeah, everyone was super thrilled. Everybody was so happy about that. So, yeah, that happened. There's also the mention of, where's Tiger Tier 3? You know, just saying. Lots of people really eager for some, you know, specific skin continuations and some green clothing armor, but nope. Deep Ruby Tier 2 and Tiger Tier 3. So cool. Yeah, yippee! And then, of course, we had a nice batch of other skins, another garage door, because, of course, you know, because, of course, another jungle-themed, temple-themed garage door, yippee! So, okay, cool. Point made. But looking at all these skins, if we could just quickly refer back, what are my thoughts in regards to what was potentially the best investment for the week? So, if I could take you back to when we were sitting here questioning things, you know, after just a good few hours, I had to talk about it. I wasn't fully convinced it was going to be A-OK. That Heatseeker MP5. Almost 8,000 subscribers in just a few hours. Now, I haven't even made a fuss about the likes of that rocket launcher, but we'll get there, don't you worry. But that Heatseeker MP5 was selling a lot. And it was getting a bit concerning. Clearly, everybody was well aware of it, but I don't blame them for wanting it and probably buying extra, because that transparency on the aim site was absolutely ridiculous. Like, the amount of extra transparency, extra visibility you get on the SAR was good. It was very nice. It was very helpful. But the difference was night and day with the MP5. It was perfect. So, okay. Was it going to be A-OK and perfectly reasonably fine like the SAR, as I kind of assumed? I thought the SAR was going to retain its value and probably sit at around $4 throughout the summer. But of course, with that appearing literally the very next week, it shot up in price. It was selling for about $10 during this period of time. Well, I certainly was just assuming that, okay, it'll probably sell a lot, but during the summer it'd probably just be in a positive regardless. I was already anticipating another skin to appear. So yeah, Heatseeker MP5 was selling ridiculously, but it still felt like it was going to be A-OK. So that was the thoughts, that was the feelings. Now, hopping back over to here, and yeah, SCMM's going to have problems. I'm so sorry about that, but I could just bring up the screenshot. Yippee! The next thing I would bring up was the Tier 2 and the Tier 3. Because by default, Tiger Tier 3, that literally appeared the week after the hoodie and pants. That was already making that look special. And Tier 2, boots and gloves, that was to appear. Of course, that would also spike them on spike in price. Let me remind you, when this appeared, the hoodie and pants doubled and tripled in price. That was cool. But Deep Ruby's just suddenly come out of nowhere with some Tier 2 armor. Okay, well again, doesn't matter. So as long as we see new core pieces, that could sell next to nothing. But if you get those new core pieces, that will spike them on spike in price. It's like an inevitability. If we do get the continuations. Like I said, we've been sitting around waiting for Tire Tier 3 for a while now and still hadn't seen it. Not everything always gets continuations. Not everything always gets completed. Cool. Looking at the remaining skins, I thought about the Black Ops rocket launcher. So that was the first rocket launcher in quite a while. Obviously, you know, we had one during Easter, the Choco launcher. But the point still remained that we don't get that many rocket launcher skins in Rust Wars anymore. Seeing that there, part of the Black Ops collection, which, you know, up to this point had got quite a nice series of weapons. Let's just quickly hop back over to here. Let's go quickly take a look at that. We had the AK, we had the SAR, we had the revolver, and now a rocket launcher. Now, most rocket launchers were in the positive. Again, a sheer lack of quantity, overall quantity of skins leads to that. But was it going to be all right? Because it was also selling quite a lot. There's some concerns. A lack of new skins has definitely brought interest, but it also brought in a lot of people thinking it was just going to be instantly all right, instantly okay. So there were some concerns about the quantity being sold. Was everyone who was buying it actually wanted to buy it for themselves? Was it actual genuine demand? Or was it mostly people trying to make a quick flip? So, okay, you know, that's a bit concerning. And looking at all the remaining skins, I did bring up how the SAR, part of the Popstar collection, was a nice addition. Pretty much, Popstar collection, it's kind of it was in an interesting spot. The AK at that point was in the positive, perfectly fine by itself. It was all right. It was perfectly fine. Like most AKs tend to go down in price, but no, Anime Gale AK-47, that was doing good. So okay, fair enough. The LR300 was down in price pretty badly. LR300 skins. The Thompson was also doing very nicely, and with the arrival of the SAR, the AK and the Thompson went and bounced up in price quite nicely. But would the SAR be all right, considering we just had the Heatseeker SAR? But then again, maybe the Popstar SAR probably wouldn't sell that much. Maybe it could be okay. Okay. Then I had to bring up the Croco Sap, which is a bit awkward because didn't we just have the Ruin Sap the previous week? Another green sap has appeared, but then again, they tend to be somewhat reliable. They don't really go down in price that much. They don't really go up in price that much. They just retain value quite nicely. It would be an interesting thing, but nah. Looking at the B box, it was an interesting addition. We actually got a continuation for the B stuff. Yep, the sheep in the door. It was just a small box for transparency. It wasn't that ridiculous, but it was nice, but I still had doubts. And then, of course, we had the dart wheel. It's an interesting design. It's a fun novelty thing. But that's the key word, novelty. Are people going to need it? Are people going to crave it, desire it, or is it just going to be a thing that people just put on the side just because they could? How many people can actually skin it? Okay, fair enough. At $1.49, there's nothing else to compare to. But the questions of, are people even going to want it, use it, need it? It was definitely being brought up. And then we have that garage door. Cool design. Got to remind you, it looked very nice. It looked very cool. But we'd already had some temple garage doors. We already had a ridiculous amount of garage doors in May, and throughout 2025. So things were getting a bit concerning, getting a bit worrying. Are we getting too many garage doors? Well, that was definitely a thought. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the first 24 hours of sales. So let's go hop over to here. So, Heatseeker Amplified had 19,500 subscribers. That's the first 24 hours of sales. It had more sales than what the AK-47 had, based on subscriber count. Yep. Okay, so that was... the rocket launcher was also selling quite a lot, over 10,000. Dart wheel was also selling quite a lot as well, just under 10,000 subscribers. The garage door was also selling quite nicely. Again, people actually like the design. Now, with the Tiger Tier 3, it looked like it might be selling maybe just a little bit too much compared to the hoodie and pants. And the Deep Ruby Tier 2 just wasn't really desired that much. Low sales. Only 3,000 plus subscribers after the first 24 hours of sales. Huh. Bit awkward. Now, let me bring up this video. So, evidently, we're seeing some very nice progress with the Heatseeker collection. And very quickly, we found out that the next skin that was going to be made was the Thompson. I showcased this MP5, did some comparisons, we looked at it. We considered the future of it and whatnot. I did bring up how eventually at some point later in the year, September, October, November, in what, I always refer to as the autumn fall seasonal dip. Inevitably, you're going to see a lot of sales with these skins. The hype will probably be very nice as we go through the summer, but it will most likely drop off and probably end up in a bit of a disaster when kids go back to school. September, October, November time. That's typically where we see a drop in the player count, and that's typically where we see a lot of prices reach their low point for the year. But would things still hold up nicely? Would everything be okay? Well, that MP5 was selling ridiculously. And this is where I had to bring up this tweet over here. Heat Seeker MP5 has already surpassed the SAR subscriber count. We still have over 4 days left with this Rustor. Yeah, that was a day after the video. Well, okay, yeah, so that happened. So people are already like commenting here. You can see this, like someone was mentioning it was going to go over 60,000 easily. Duck the Skin Creator was even talking. So a lot of people started to get a little bit more concerned, but clearly there was interest. But was the price actually going to hold up? It was developing into a potential problem. So now we should go ahead and talk about how we approached things with the abnormal barders. So let's go hop back over to here. And here's the night. The night before the Rust rotation. Now Heatseeker MP5 has just over 60,000 subscribers. Okay, so that's bad. That was looking like it was going to become a bit of a problem. Now, of course, I did buy some SARs because I thought, you know what? I think that's going to still work out very nicely. It looked like it was selling a lot, but I still reasonably could expect it to hold up, and with more continuations after it was going to be okay. Well, that MP5 was like, no, I'm just going to stick with a barder. I cannot help but assume as time goes on, that's going to likely go down in price pretty badly. Oh, we'll be talking about that in a bit, don't you worry. So yeah, overall the sales are pretty alright. Tiger Tier 3 had sold just a little bit more compared to the hoodie and pants. Deep Ruby really wasn't selling that much. Like, it didn't even reach that high. So we now need to go ahead and talk about what prices do we actually offer of all of these skins. So for the Heatseeker MP5, I questioned it, I talked about it. I thought, you know what? It might have sold a lot, but as we go for the summer, with the potential of seeing even more continuations appearing, maybe that's going to retain its value. It should be alright, right? So I suggested offering between $2 to $2.50. We'll talk about that in a bit, don't you worry. With the likes of the Black Ops rocket launcher, I questioned it. I wasn't really convinced it was going to be perfectly fine, so I suggested $1 to $1.50. I thought there's a decent chance we're probably going to see another rocket launcher at some point this year, and sadly you'll see that not holding up its value anymore. I could see there being some concerns and problems, so $1 to $1.50. Forbidden Mind Temple Garage Door, that had just over 17,000 subscribers, but I just didn't have any faith in it. There will be another garage door. It felt like an inevitability. So I just went with 70 cents to $1. Too many garage door skins being accepted. It's a struggle for them to maintain interest and their price. Popstar SAR, looking pretty cool. Did sell quite a fair bit. You know, even after the Heatseeker SAR, people just appreciated the Anime Girl SAR. So I thought about it, questioned it, and I went with $1 to $1.70. Tiger Tier 3, I looked at them, I questioned it. Well, I've got to point out the face mask was selling for $2 and the chest plate was selling for 99 cents. I looked at the face mask and I suggested, you know what, 75 cents to $1.20. Was that correct? Ooh, we'll talk about that in a bit. Deep Ruby Tier 2, specifically the kilt, that was selling for $2.49. I suggested $1.50 to $2. I was fully well aware the skin creator had made a collection continuation, and I thought, you know what, Deep Ruby keeps getting skin acceptances. Not everybody is super pleased about that, but it still keeps getting those acceptances. I felt reasonably confident we would see a collection continuation. So cool. But then for the vest and the helmet, coffee can helmet, the Deep Ruby vest and coffee can, I suggested 80 cents to $1.20. I didn't, well, typically with Tier 2, the main thing people care about is the kilt, and yeah, that tends to be the most valuable bit. So, point made. So for the regular skins, the skins that weren't abnormal, Dart Wheel, you were selling at $1.49. I questioned you, I thought about it, and I thought, you know what? If we don't ever see any more spinning wheel skins being produced and accepted, maybe it'll work out nicely. So I suggested 80 cents to $1.20. We'll talk about that in a bit. Tiger chest plate, I just went with 75 cents to 85 cents. I wasn't 100% convinced we're definitely going to see like more, but it's funny how Face Punch was accepting Tiger clothing and armor instead of like green clothing and armor. I felt like, much like how Deep Ruby kept getting acceptances, Tiger probably would. So, okay, cool. Coco Sep, that had sold a reasonable 8,500 subscribers. I just went with the same old $1 to $1.50 per order. Okay. And then the B-Box, that had sold just about 8,500 subscribers as well. I went with 80 cents to $1.10 for a skin that was selling for $1.49, if I can recall. Yep. So, what was the outcome? Let's go over and find out. To my surprise, the page has actually stayed up. The outcome. HeatSeeker MP5 turned into a bit of a disaster. It flooded the Steam market. So let's just go take a quick look at this on Steam market right now. And as you can see, we have just almost 2,000 listings. Sorry about that. Listings. My brain's a bit mush. So at its worst, I do believe we went all the way up to about 2,500 listings at one point. And if I were to go over to the third-party site, so I can click this and it'll show me all the details, you can see there's a lot spread out on the third-party sites. That is not selling for $3 anymore. No. And then I'll have to bring up to you my, let me go over to this page and show you my account here. This account here, this did the higher buy order. I'm sure you can tell I bought all the skins. Yeah, that happened. Oof. So what happened then? It just all sold onto me, you know. I wasn't fast enough. And that happened like 2 days later. A lot of people quickly realised far too many of them got bought, and more people just kept on listing, and it did turn into a problem. So this was incredibly oversaturated. And if we just go over to here, if you look at the actual listings, 66, 84, 24, like, at some point I saw these going up to like hundreds. It's been madness. But is it surprising? Not really. But here's something I feel like is an inevitability. This is special. This is desired. People do want to use this. If nothing else comes out that compares to the transparency that this has, and lo and behold, that is perfection. The amount of transparency that has is really like, that is an actual proper pay-to-win, game-changing amount of transparency. If we do not see a Twitch drop like this, if we do not see another skin being accepted that's like this, this will slowly and progressively, gradually go up in price. This is a long-term investment. And around October time, in a few months' time from now, you need to look at this and consider, you know what? I could go ahead and buy some, sit in it for quite some time, and it is expected it will rise up and go back up above its rust price, and inevitably become a nice investment. Now, again, the possibility of seeing Twitch drops with even more transparency and whatnot, can't rule that out. In fact, with the upcoming Fancy Orb event, we're going to have another MP5 with transparency, but not as much transparency compared to that. So, when I was looking at this, questioning how it's going to behave, I've already brought this up. The best thing we can compare to is the Whiteout boot. Now, if you don't fully remember, Whiteout Collection, all the clothing armor came out like, what, 2021 mostly? But the boot came out in 2023. Boots, I should clarify. So when the boots came out, they did, what, 65,000 subscribers? Very similar to the HeatSeeker MP5. Now, as you can see, this is sitting here at $2 with 252 listings, but this also had a disaster. Same amount of subscribers, same problems. At one point, Whiteout boots had 3,000 listings. At one point, this went as cheap as about 40 cents American. But what inevitably happened was, because the demand was always there, because people actually, genuinely wanted it, it still had the people buying it. So yes, after a good few months, it did crash and burn. It went down to about 40 cents during September 2023 time. But gradually, it just kept going up and up and up. And somewhat recently, back in June, this went all the way up to about $2.20, $2.30. Yeah, we had a bit of a dip since then, but we're starting to recover. Can you see that? Yep, it's starting to recover now. So, yes, in regards to what we see here, that very likely will happen to the HeatSeeker MP5 as well. That took about 2 years to recover, all right? So, it's a consideration, but I feel like you just got to give it time. Post-Christmas 2026, January 2026, look at this then. I wouldn't be surprised if we bounce back up to its rust price. Because as far as I know, I haven't seen any MP5s like this. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any Twitch drops like this. Will it instantly go back up to its rust price January 2026 time? Will it take another year? We'll see, all right? What are your thoughts? Did you buy any? Did you pick up any with a buy order like I did? Ooh, were you fast enough? Now, I will point out, I had a lower price buy order. I removed that as well. And good stuff, because it did get even cheaper. At its cheapest, what price did this reach? Let's just quickly clarify. So at its cheapest, you went all the way down to about $1.50-ish. Something like that. So, okay. Fair enough. All right. So, were you lucky? Are you optimistic still? Feel free to comment below. But that's it for that now. Right then. So, Black Ops Rocket Launcher. 25,000 subscribers. Cool looking design. I respect it. But it didn't do a very good job retaining its price. No, it did not. So as you can see right here, it's currently about half its price. But something happened. Another rocket launcher appeared. So over to here, we have to bring up that we recently saw a No Mercy rocket launcher. That's also gone down in price pretty quickly. Wow, people don't seem to appreciate skins for rocket launchers. Or more specifically, people probably already own a Dragon rocket launcher, the Team Rocket rocket launcher, Twitch Rivals rocket launcher, Silver rocket launcher, basically rocket launchers with glow sights and transparency and whatnot. Like, people probably already are happy with the things they currently have, and I don't feel the need to buy or appreciate any of the newer skins. But yeah, wow, that did turn out pretty badly, didn't it? Oh dear, oh dear. But I did bring up how it did look a bit iffy with the amount of people buying so much. I did suggest, what price did I suggest? Sorry, I haven't got, yeah, $1 to $1.50. So if you had a $1.50 buy order, oof, but if you're fast enough, you probably removed your buy order. I was fast enough, but I still picked up about a decent amount of these. With my lower price buy order, I'm still expecting it to drop off a fair bit. I could probably pick some up for maybe about $1, but we'll see, we'll see. So yeah, did you pick up any? Did you buy any buy orders? Feel free to comment below. But let's see if that does turn out quite nicely. Give it time. But if we are starting to see more rocket launchers being accepted in Rust stores, I'm not surprised. But overall, the Black Ops, collection in itself, it's been a bit 50-50, hasn't it? Yeah. So, all right. Dart wheel. It's halved in price. The question of, do people even want it, need it, use it, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's a problem. 22 listings, 11 listings. Oof. I've got to bring this up. We've seen some pretty cool designs being made for spinning wheels recently, but none of them have been accepted. So as of now, this is the only spinning wheel skin we still have. I've seen pizza, I've seen the spinning wheel, spin to win, roulette, you name it. But they're not being accepted. If this does eventually or inevitably become our only, spinning wheel skin, do you reckon it'll just go up in price simply because of that? It wouldn't surprise me, but that might take another year or two. Have you picked up any of a buy order? I didn't remove my buy orders for both the big buy order and the smaller price buy order. I have bought a bunch of these. It might be a bit of a problem. So, yeah. Seems my suggestion with the price was probably a little bit too high. Yeah, you might say that. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't think that was correct. No. Okay, fair enough. Forbidden Mind Garage Door, yes. I should probably be doing this in order of what I listed it here, because SMM has had some issues, and all of these are actually jumbled up. So Forbidden Mind Temple, inevitably it halved in price. That was to be expected. And of course we did see more Garage Door skins after this. More Temple Garage Doors, funny enough. Yeah, it was expected to be this way. I said 70 cents to $1, and lo and behold, that looks like it was a perfectly fine suggestion. So, yeah, if we keep seeing these, it's just going to keep on happening. So that was very straightforward. Right, next up we had the Popstar SAR. I said $1.20 to $1.70. We recently went for a bit of a dip towards the end of June for some strange reason. I still do not know why it happened. But as you can see here, the price is still holding up at $1.70. The bars over here at $1.30 are still looking pretty okay. Like, it doesn't look that bad. Most SARs are down much worse, but that's looking like it's holding up. Could we see more Popstar skins potentially being accepted? Well, I am aware more skins are being produced at the workshop, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, did it drop off that bad? Quite a bit. But it's not really crashing and burning. It's just kind of there, to be honest with you. So, alright then, fair enough. Not the worst, but if you did do a $1.70 barter, you probably have bought a bunch of these. Oh, yes, you have. But if you stuck with a lower price barter, hey, Maybe you've picked up some already, and as we get closer to October time, maybe you might be picking up a few more. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. Right then, Tiger Tier 3. I'll just do both at the same time. It crashed and burned. So boots and gloves were made, but they weren't accepted. And then the skin creator just never attempted Tier 2. Yeah, what? Yeah, Johnny Old Boy, he just never attempted Tier 2. I got no idea what he's up to. Maybe he's just on break, who knows? But he did get Twisted Metal skins accepted, and he kind of focused that, and he just disappeared. That's not good. That's not good. So price for this, it dropped down pretty badly, as you can see right here. And remember, for the face mask, I said 75 cents to $1.20. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And then for the chest plate, as you can see here, that also went down real bad. Yeah, I suggested, what, 75 cents to 85 cents? Good job, Hedge, well done. Oh no. I honestly thought we probably had a good chance of seeing a collection continuation, but the skin creator just decided to go up and leave. Oh, that was not good. Nope. Deep Ruby Tier 2. So for the kilt, I suggested $1.50 to $2. Now, what I will point out is Deep Ruby, it did get a continuation. We saw the hoodie and pants quite a while later. This did bounce up in price, but it didn't last forever. Kilt went up to $3. These just basically went back up to their rush store price. After that, now they've gone back down again. So I actually didn't sell any. I should have. I didn't. I'm still hoping to see some Deep Ruby Tier 3 and boots and gloves. But yeah. So if you did you manage to pick up any of these? I did buy 50 Deep Ruby kilts. I did do that. I honestly thought, I feel like Deep Ruby's definitely going to get more skins. I just thought it was an inevitability. I should have sold at the right time. I was too hopeful of Tier 3 and boots and gloves. Oh dear. Right then, so with that, I feel like with the kilt, I feel like it was fine for what I suggested, but I should have sold at the right time. But for these two skins here, I inevitably expected both of them to drop off pretty badly. It's unfortunate, but with the likes of coffee cans and vests, it keeps on happening. But I said 80 cents to $1.20 for both of these, and it looks like that's a perfectly fine amount. Looks like they've only just kind of gone down to those prices, and as you can see, they're kind of holding up quite all right. You can look at that. Yeah. So I'm not really too upset with these two, but I'm kicking myself because I didn't sell at the right time for the kilt. But hey, Tier 3, boots and gloves. Let's see if that happens at some point in the near future. Fingers crossed. All right. So yes, that's that. And then we have the Croco sack. There we are. It's over here. Sorry, I got a little bit lost there. I suggested $1 to $1.50. Lo and behold, it gone down in price, but it hasn't gone and crushed and burned. We kind of talked about this with the previous video. We had the Rune sack. It's kind of down in price, but not that many listings. Not too much of a problem. Same thing here. There's literally 2 listings below its rush store price, and that's it. Only 25 listings in total. The Baldur's still sitting there $1.50. It's looking stable. It's looking okay. It's just not up in the positive. But 2 sales, and yes, it is. That's sap skins. They're just reliable. So, expectation met. Okay, fair enough. D-Box. I suggested 80 cents to $1.10 for you. How are you currently holding up? It's doing alright. Not the worst. We did see more continuation attempts, but they weren't accepted, unfortunately. Most recent skin I saw being submitted was a hammer. But we didn't see that recently, did we? No. It's in a bit of an awkward spot. But from what I see here, 80 cent highest buy order, lowest listing $1.18. Yeah, if you're after $1.10 buy order, you probably bought a bunch of these. I have a couple, but I removed my buy order. So, yeah, that just basically matched up to expectation as well. So overall, this rush store was pretty straightforward. But some wishful thinking did lead to some problems, like the Tiger Tier 3. Dart wheel, it was new to us. We didn't really know where it was going to go, but that was a learning experience. Unfortunately, I also have a lot of dart wheels at the moment. Oh dear. And the Heatseeker MP5. There was hopes that you'd just be alright. There was hopes that with more skins being accepted, which of course did happen, it'd be reasonably okay and retain its value quite nicely. But no. Far too many people bought it in excess. And with that, far too many people listed them on the Steam market. Price just went and crashed and burned. We are in for a long wait to see these skins go up in price to a nice positive. It's a bit awkward, but yeah. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But if you're like me, you could probably afford it. If you're not, I do worry for you. So feel free to comment below if you bought any of these skins, whether it's through a purchase or a buy order. Feel free to tell me your current thoughts. But yeah, all of the skins here, they're all in a negative. It's not a pretty sight, is it? No, it's not. Right, so let's just take a quick sneak peek for next week, May 29, and yeah, we saw some pretty cool looking skins being accepted. Continuations, look at the transparency in that, and oh, look at that very happy looking face. What weapon? Oh my. So yeah, that's your little preview for the next week. So overall, were you satisfied with this roster? I'm guessing no. Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you very much for watching the video, greatly appreciate it. Feel free to comment in regards to have you been making any sales as of recent. I've started selling on my on a second account. I completely filled up my main account. It's a bit slow, but I'm under the impression things will hopefully improve as we go towards the likes of August. The end of June did dip, but prices are improving as we go through July. So fingers crossed it improves even more. So that's a wrap. Thank you very much for watching me. Greatly appreciate it. Best of luck to each and every single one of you. And let's see if we do make some good profit in the future.